Hello, everybody. This is Jennifer from Acorns and Twigs, and I am streaming live inside the Jingle and Mingle group. I'm just going to make sure that I actually am in there. I have also been having some technical difficulties today. Just make sure. Okay, it looks like I am. Hopefully my mic and everything is set up correctly, but shoot, let's see. Okay. Okay, thank you, Amy. I am good, and I am seeing your comments, so that's great. Okay, so I am Jennifer from Acorns and Twigs, and I am just one of the 12 women that are presenting inside the Jingle and Mingle group event. And so if you're watching this live stream from outside of the Jingle and Mingle group, go ahead and click on the link up in my description. On my description, I have a link in there, so that will take you over to the group so you can see all the other ladies their presentations, and you'll be able to see their replays inside of our guides. Today I am going to be making one of these fairy wool fairies with you guys. And if you already pre-ordered your kit, we have these kits on our website that you can order, so you have all the supplies that you need. I'm just going to open it up and show you what's inside. So we have a felting needle, very sharp and pointy, so please be careful if you've never used one before. This part right here is super sharp, and it also will bend and snap easily. So you're going to want to make sure that when you are stabbing, you're going straight in and straight out so it doesn't snap on you. I have a pipe cleaner. This is 6 inches. Any pipe cleaner will work. I like these because they're white, and this is cotton, so it kind of makes the wool stick to it a little bit nicer. But if you have any pipe cleaners at home, it will work. I do recommend having a wire with like the fuzzy on it, because the wool will stick to it a little bit better than just a regular wire. We have some, so in this kit, I put in blonde hair and like a light skin color, but the kits are customizable. So if you left us a note at checkout, you can also get like a darker skin color or a different hair color. We have browns, reds, things like that. So I just kind of grabbed one of these standard ones. So we have a light skin color and a blonde for the hair. And then I have some white wool. So these two are 5 grams each, and then this one is 10 grams. So it's the double as much, as well as the green and the red, which are like which make this fairy a Christmas theme. You could swap these out for other colors and have different seasons. You could do a spring or summer or anything like that. So, and then I also included a little bell because I thought it was really nice to have the fairy holding a little bell. So that's optional, but it is included in the kit. And I think that's it. Yes, my bag's empty. Okay, so we are going to start. I'm going to put all these things to the side and start with just I'm just going to call it skin tone, but obviously there are other skin tones out there, but I'm just going to, for this purpose, call it skin tone. You're going to want to, so this is wool, like from a sheep, and it's actually merino sheep. And this has been carded and then combed. So what's left is just fibers that are long. So there's all the short, small fibers have been taken out of this, as well as it's been combed straight. So all the fibers are now parallel. So if you pull this out, you see what that looks like. So in order to separate this, you don't want to have your hands too close, because you won't be able to tear them apart. But so if you bring your hands out a little bit further like this, you can pull it apart. So I'm going to pull off, let's see, I think about 3/4 of it, like that. There's one piece. And then I'm going to do another third. I guess these are thirds, not fourths. Another one right here, and then I have this left over. So I broke it down into three pieces. One will be, we're going to make like a ball, a core for the head, inside the head, and then we'll have another layer that just goes on top of it so it's nice and smooth. And then one will be for the hands and the arms right here. Okay, so I think I will take the smaller chunk for the hands because we won't need very much. I'm gonna take the biggest one for the skin. So in order to make like a ball, this is the only part where the felting needle will actually come into play. And so I'm going to just tie a knot into this like that. I'm actually going to do it twice. Sorry for the background noise. It's my husband sneaking out. Okay, so I tied a knot in here, and then I'm just going to fluff these up on both ends. I want to go kind of quickly on this because last time I made a wool fairy live, it took me 53 minutes, and so I don't want to go over my time. So I'm just going to kind of go quickly. Now I'm going to grab my felting needle. What you do need, and it's not included in the kit, is like a foam underlay. But if you don't have a foam at home, you can also just use like a sponge, a clean sponge, obviously, from your kitchen, or hopefully. It's not going to go straight into my table. It will protect my needle from snapping when it hits so it doesn't hit the table, and also will protect my table. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this and felt this into a ball. So I'm kind of have to look around my camera. So I'm watching out for my fingers, and I'm needle felting. I'm stabbing this needle into the wool, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but a felting needle has little barbs on it. So when it goes in, it's pulling the fibers in to the core of the item that I'm stabbing into. And actually, I'm thinking this is going to be too small compared to my other fairy, but that's okay. We'll just make a smaller one today. But yeah, so it just pulls in the fibers. And this doesn't have to be perfect because you won't see it later on, but I'm just making sure that I'm going around and doing it from all the sides. So that it doesn't turn out lopsided. I'm going to try to make a ball that resembles the shape of a head. So. Okay, that's good enough. If I had more time, I would probably keep going on it. But like I said, it doesn't matter because you'll see in the next step that we're not going to see this anymore. This is just giving it like a firm base for the head. So we're actually done with the foam and the needle. I might grab it a couple times to fixate a few things here and there, but technically we don't need it anymore. Okay, and so I'm going to take one of these strands. I'm going to grab a few fibers here down here, just like a tiny little wisp. This is actually too much. I'm going to do that in half. Set that to the side. And I'm going to put the ball that I just needle felted in the middle. And then, actually, I forgot a step. That's why I needed this. I'm going to take this and go in the middle of that strand. I'll get it over here so you can see it. So I'm just kind of like wrapping this around here. Oops. Right, so you have it like this. And then I'm putting the ball on top of that and folding it over. And then you just kind of want to smooth it out so that the sides are nice and like they kind of overlap just barely. Right, and then you're going to squeeze it nice and tight so that you have that ball form. Right, and then I'm going to grab the other wisp that I had. And nice and tightly wrap it around the ball so that I have a smooth surface now. Okay, and so if you go all the way down to the last fiber, it will hold itself. It will not pop back open. And if you feel like it might, you can still just use your needle and stab it just a couple times. I don't want to do it too many times because otherwise you'll see the indentation. But I just tend to wrap it around down to the very last fiber, and then it'll just kind of stick to itself. Okay, so that is the beginning of our head. Let me think, should I? Yeah, I want to do this first. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of lift that up where we folded it over, and I'm going to put this is going to be the arms. So I'm going to stuff that in there and sandwich it in, push it up nice and tight, and then I'm actually going to grab some more loose fibers down here and do the same thing and just wrap it around. I can't do it around my camera, so I'm going to pull it up here. That wasn't enough. So I'm pinching it, where's the camera? Pinching it down with my thumb. And wrapping it around there so that those arms are sandwiched into the body. And again, just going all the way down to the last fiber, and it will stick right there. Okay, and you just want to make sure that this is not lopsided, so the arms are about the same length. Okay, so this is the top part of our fairy already started. Then I'm going to take my last third of wool that I set to side, and I'm going to, well, first of all, I'm going to split it in half because I have two arms. And then this is probably more than enough. Just going to grab some of it. Okay. And I want to start further down here on the hand, lay it on the pipe cleaner and start wrapping it. And you just want to make sure that it's nice and tight. And you're going to go up towards the hand, making sure that you're not twisting your wool in any way. So you just want to make sure that this lays nice and flat. And once you have it about like that, nice and tight, I'm going to fold this over. Can you see that? Yeah. That will help it fixate so it doesn't fall off. And then I'm going to keep going. Make sure I can see what I'm doing. It's not doing what I want. Okay. Actually, I want to go a little bit further so that when I'm folding already on the wool that way. That's going to be the tip of the hand. There we go. Nice and tight. And then go back towards the body. Trying to make sure that you cover all of the white, and then you just kind of let it go all the way down to the bottom so you don't have any more fiber. Okay. We're going to do the same on the other side. Okay. Sorry that I'm not paying too much attention to to the comments. I'm hoping that I'm going to get this done in time. So how are we doing? 14. Okay. So again, just going over, I will go back and read all the comments and answer anything that hasn't already gotten answered by the other ladies. So if it's like something that's specific to my project and they don't know the answer, I can absolutely go back and answer all of these. Okay. Nice and tight, that's the key. And then you don't want it to be chunky in one spot, and so just kind of keep going over in that same spot so that it smooths it out. We're gonna come back and do this on the same spot again with the sleeves of the dress. So it's not, this part doesn't have, like the further you get closer to the body, the less important it is that it looks good. You just want the hands to look nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going down to the very last fiber. Okay. Okay, so our fairy now has hands. Let me think. I think I want to do the sleeves now too. So that's where I want to grab my, so I actually had some skin color left over. So I should have probably made the head a little bit bigger by using a bigger chunk, but that's okay. Not a problem. I have no problems. I'm not going to complain about having extra wool. So white wool, taking just a little bit again. It's probably still too much. Okay. And I like to start a little bit further in, just because these loose, the end of the wool gets kind of messy. So that way I have more control. And then I just kind of go up towards the hands. Can you see that? Sorry, I keep bumping my camera. I should have set this up a little bit different. And then I'm just going to go all the way into the body. Like that. And so if you see the finished one, you only see her arm goes all the way up here, and you're not going to see that. So I'm just going to worry about this part being white. So this is okay because we're going to lay wool over that. Plus the extra bonus that the pipe cleaner is white, and so you won't really see that it stopped early. Okay, doing the same on the other side. Okay. Oop. If you get like a little that does come undone, try not to fuss with it too much, otherwise you might have to end up pulling this all off and doing it again. Happened to me a couple times. Okay, so I think I'm going to do the arm cuffs right now too while I'm at it. So I'm going to take a little bit of the green. This might be too much. It doesn't take a lot. And here you're just going to have to be really careful, because otherwise if you get messy, you won't have clear lines. But like I said, don't twist it. And also I'm already getting a bit of a problem. I don't know if you can see it, but my white was too loose, and so when I'm pulling this green really nice and tight, it's bulging up. So try to avoid that. But I'm going really quickly. So I hope you guys are going to watch this on the replay and then pause it and take your time. Not like I'm doing it right now. Okay, I'm going to do the other side. I think this lady is going to, I'm not going to put the red stripes on there just for time purposes. But if you look at it, I also went in and did some red stripes up her arm, which was kind of cute. So you can kind of personalize it the way you want to do that. Okay. So I'm going to, her arms got kind of lopsided. See that? And I can still just pull that through and make that good again. So now we're going to go to the fun part of making her dress. I'm going to take the white. I'm going to take a chunk of this off for the braids for later. If you want to add braids, set some white, red, and green to the side so that you can do that. She has one on her head, and then she also has one down here in the middle. So, okay, so for the white, I'm going to pull some of this off because it is kind of messy here. Okay, folding it in half, and then I can show you down here. So right there in the half point where I was folding it, I'm going to open this up just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit, and I want to poke her head through there. And then I'm going to pull it down. Yeah, this is way too long, so we'll pull some of that off later, but for now. And then I'm going to grab some of the red. Oh, it is warm in here. I'm going to put some of that to the side for a braid later. And then I have all of this for the dress. It's probably plenty. I didn't give her very much on this one. I think it was because I was working with less. I didn't grab this much wool. So this one, the one that we're making today, is going to have a little bit fuller. Her dress is going to be a little bit fuller. So that's good. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is for now, and then I will, let me think. Yeah, and then we'll pull it off at the end. Okay, so I'm going to also, again, just kind of make a little bit of a hole in there and pop her head through there. Put the dress on her. Okay. So it looks really puffy right now, but that's okay. I want to grab some of the red on the bottom because we're going to make it shorter later on anyways. So I took about this much off the bottom. And I'm going to tuck this up to the shoulder so it's not too puffy. And then I'm going to take a nice firm hold of it and give her a belt right below the arms. It's kind of hard to hold it firmly, but also wrap the wool around. Okay, so this is the second part where you might want the felting needle, but again, if you just go down to the very last fiber, it should hold, just like that. But I think I am going to stab it a couple times just to be sure because I'm multitasking. You don't want to stab it too many times, otherwise you'll see those needle indentions. Also, don't want to stab too far because you might pull the white fibers all the way through and then they'll pop out on the other side. So I'm just kind of fixating it a little bit so it doesn't come undone. Okay. So if you wanted to, you could stop. I mean, not stop, but like leave the dress this long. That would be a really pretty, like a really long dress. Totally doable. I've done that before. What I like to do is make sure that the side kind of overlaps so you don't see that we folded it. Just kind of play with the wool. Oh, I know what I did. I forgot. That's what I did it again. Okay, so on this one, I wanted to give her wings. You could also give her wings. So if you wanted to make it into an actual angel, then you're going to want to put white wool on the side. So I'm definitely going to make this shorter, and then I'll use that for the wings if I have time. So I grabbed some. That shorter, and then the red I'm definitely going to make shorter than the white so that you see the white come through. Don't want to mix this because I'm going to use that white later for the wings. Okay, put that on the back. So oh, didn't pay attention. This isn't as pretty because see how that knot up there that we made slipped down? Usually it's up here. So this, I don't want this to be my face. So I'm going to actually call this the face. This will get covered up with the hair later on. So this is the back. And just going to pull some more red off. Okay. Take a sip of water real quick. Okay. So I'm going to give her a little bit more of a V-neck right there. So with what I did on this one is I split the dress in the front so that you can see this braid. So I'm going to do that here too. Just going to take my red, split it in half, nice and clean. And then I'm going to go to the sides and pull this over a little bit so that it doesn't have that gap in the middle. Can you see that? Same on the other side. Now these are not intended to be toys. So this is something that you're going to, so our business is Acorns and Twigs, and we serve homeschool families with supplies. And we do a lot of handcraft things like this. So working with fiber, weaving, knitting, crocheting, rug hooking, needle felting, wet felting, like all things fiber. And so when we're making things, I like to tell our customers whether this would be, sometimes we make toys. So like things that are firmer, like this pig, he's super firm. A kid could play with this actually a kid has played with this and I kind of need to touch it up a little bit, but this would be something that would be okay for a kid to play with because it's not as fragile. This is more, you set it and then you hang it up and then you leave it because this is very fragile. So we have the dress done. Let's do the hair because I think that's more important than the braid. But we're actually doing pretty good with time. So let's see how far we can get. Okay. I'm going to take the blonde. Whew. And this one got just an open hairstyle. But we could also give, depending on if I can get it, sometimes if it gets kind of messy, then I give it a bun and then wrap it up together and it looks good. But so we'll see how we do with this one. I want to just take half of this for now. So I'm not really measuring anything. I'm just kind of grabbing and pulling and playing by eye. So I guess I did tell you guys to bring a ruler, but honestly, I don't think you really need it. It's just freestyle, I guess. Oh, okay. So we do need the needle for this too. I'm sorry. I didn't think far ahead. enough. So I'm just going to lay it like about halfway. Remember to decide which side you want to have the face. We're not actually going to put anything on the face. That's another method in the Waldorf homeschooling that we do, is we don't put faces on our dolls so that it doesn't like predefine the character of the doll and also the emotions. So we kind of like let that, leave that open for the child's imagination and own emotions for that day. So you can, give it a middle part. You could do a little bit of a side part. I think I want to do a side part here. I'm just going to hold it down and then fixate it just on the part. Just a few simple stabs. Enough that it won't just fall off. I could pull it back off. A child would definitely pull it back off. But just enough to kind of fixate it. Like that. And then we're going to go around to the back. This is the part that's kind of tricky. And if you're a perfectionist, you're not going to like this part because it sometimes gets really frustrating. But I just kind of pull it down. And then I'm just going to fixate it down here on the neckline, on the bottom, the base of the head. You could also do, this is where I usually like to decide, maybe I'll do pigtails or like braid them. So like that, or you can pull it back. So you just kind of have to play with it, and it's hard to get the hair perfect. There are better methods, but that would take a little bit longer. So I'm just going to show you how to do a bun because I think that will be the fastest and easiest way. So I'm just going to mess it up back here a little bit. Make it a round bun. Give it a couple stabs. Watching out for your fingers. If this goes in your finger, you will be very, very sad. You'll need not batteries, a Band-Aid and some emotional support. Sometimes I have to walk away from it at this point because if I'm in a hurry or feeling frustrated, I get sloppy and then I don't do a good job. And so sometimes this is the point where I take a break and come back to it because it's my favorite part, is giving the hairstyle, giving the doll, the doll or the fairy a hairstyle, because that just gives it a completely different character. And I don't want to mess that up. So, but for today, I am not stabbing too deep because I don't want the yellow fibers to come through on the other side. And then you just kind of want to flip it over every once in a while and look at it. So it's not that bad. Not my best, but also not that bad. And she has a bun in the back. Okay. 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 Let's see. So now you can take the arms and fold it down. So these are, since it's wire, you can kind of place them wherever you want them to go. And then you can, let's see, where did my little bell go? There it is. You could take, so what I did with this one is I just took some red. I don't have lights up by my other computer. So I took some red wool and I just made it, I twisted it between my fingers and then wrapped it around to give her the bell hanging. So you could do that, or you could use some thread if you have any. Just hang that onto her arm, or you could probably even sew it onto her dress if you wanted to. But for today, I'm just going to leave it at that because I wanted to also show you the braid. Okay, so for the open hair, I pretty much did the same thing. I just didn't, I stabbed it a couple times here in the back, which is why she has a flat head. If you're going to hang it somewhere, that doesn't really matter. But that's pretty much all I did. I just placed the hair where I want it to have. I put some in the front of her arm. I think that's always kind of nice. And then I just gave it a couple stabs with the needle to fixate it. And because it's not a toy and a child's not going to play with it, or someone, you know, you're not going to handle it a lot, that's fine. As long as it looks good and it's not going to just fall off on its own or with some wind. That's all you need. Okay, so I don't need any more of the blonde. I do need red. I don't have very much space here, so I'm kind of struggling. Grab some green. I guess this is all we needed the green for the sleeves and the braids. So you have plenty of green in your kit. You could also make a green dress if you wanted to instead, because you have the same amount of red and green. You could also kind of play around with it and give the dress another layer. That's where it gets like creative. So like the base of making the head and the arms and everything, that's going to be the same with no matter what fairy you make. And then the way you dress her up is individual, and you can just kind of do however you want. So for the braiding, I did a 4-strand. I think I took, so I'm going to put it on my, you could tape it down, but that's kind of difficult with some red in there. With wool, because if you tape it, it might still come out. So I'm going to lay this here. I want to do a strand of green, strand of red, and then another strand of green, just because I have plenty. Can you see the white even on that foam? Probably not. Okay. So typically when you're braiding something, you like to tape these down. I'm just going to stab them into my foam a little bit so that they stay put. Okay. So to do a 4-braid strand, you're basically going over, let's see, this is the left, this is the right. So the right strand goes over 1, and you bring that over. And then the left strand always goes over 2. So I'm going to go over these 2. Like that. And then this one's going to go over 1. And then this one's going to go over 2. Go over 1. Go over 2. And you just keep going like that. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Yep. Go over 2. You just kind of, just like you would with hair, you just kind of have to keep control over your strands. And that's probably the trickiest part about braiding things is as long as it's not like fiber or hair or anything like that, is keeping control over it. And so you just keep going. And if this is too complicated for you, you can just do a regular braid or figure out a different way to decorate your dress. Make sure you keep it nice and tight. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out, should I stop? Because it's getting thin. And yeah, I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so, and then I just take the needle. I'm sorry, I guess I was completely wrong in the beginning. I thought we only needed the needle for the head. We obviously need it for a few other steps. So I'm glad I included that in the kit. I am so sorry. I have a hard time like thinking things completely through. Like my entire preparation for this call was, or for this live, was all about the tech and the lights and the, you know, like all the things. I didn't even think about how I was gonna do the project. So that's me. But I think with a group full of creative crafters, I think you all can kind of relate to that. We creatives, we're just kind of a type of our own, aren't we? Our brains are wired differently. Okay, so this is my braid. And I could put it around her head, which would be really cute. You can do it like that, which would be kind of like a, what is her? Lucia, St. Lucia, with the candles. You could put it up more up top, or you could do it more flat on her head. So this is where you can really play with it and do your own. But I feel like this braid is really big, like it covers her whole head. So if I would have done like a 3-strand braid, I would have maybe done that. But so you can just kind of play with it how you want, and then put that around her head, and then you just fixate it with the needle in the back. I'm going to show you how to do this on the front of her dress because we are starting to run out of time. I'm going to take this shorter end. Move her hands again. I'm just going to tuck it up underneath. Up under that red dress. And stab that into her belly. I know that sounds terrible, but that's what we're doing. Fixating it up there on the belt. And like I said, so I'm gonna kind of go at it at a different angle, so I'm not going straight through and getting this green and white fiber to come through on the back. That's just the most important part. One tip I would also say is never, I highly recommend never cutting your wool with scissors, because first of all, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't felt as well. The fibers won't mingle and mat as well. So you just want to tear things off if it's too long, if it's too much. So I'm just going to kind of just barely, and then that's where you could maybe put that bell. That would be kind of cute right there. This got kind of sloppy because I was hurrying. But yeah, so that's how you do that. I'm just going to tear some of this off down here because it's too long. I don't like how this got fuzzy. Going at it at an angle so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so that's how I added the 4-strand braid on the front. And then, yeah, you can add a crown or something on there if you wanted to, and you can put your little bell on her hand. You could add some more stripes on her arm and just kind of give her, you could even felt like a little, like a flower or something and put that in her hair if you wanted to. Just kind of play with the wool. You have plenty left over to see what you can do. You just kind of get creative with that. So yeah, okay, let me look at the comments because I've been ignoring them. You could run a silver or gold ribbon through the braid as well. Oh yeah, that would be really, really pretty. Or just completely out of ribbon if you wanted to, or just take one strand of ribbon. And I don't usually use hot glue or anything on wool, but you totally could. I've also seen people sew on little like rhinestones or glitter or whatever. So you can be really creative with that. And oh, and then so on this one, I also took some string and I with a needle, and I thread it through her head in the back. so I can hang her up. So it can go on a Christmas tree or on your rear view mirror in your car. Oh, I was going to show you guys wings. Okay, so to do wings really quick, you take your white wool. Well, I'm going to show you with a different color just because you can't really see it on camera, but I would use white for the wings. And you just lay your strand out like this. And then you can needle felt it a little bit here in the middle, or you could take that, you know, that wrapping technique. That's probably how I would do it, is just wrap it just like we did for the light skin color on the head, and then just pull these out a little bit, or a lot actually, on both sides. Right? You could even add another color on here and then felt that. Sorry, I'm showing on my side. So add some color on here and then felt that in there, and then just fixate that on the back. I'm gonna do that real quick for you guys. Sorry, I should have maybe done green, so it's okay. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure, because we're working up here a little bit higher than the belt, that you don't stab that metal wire, because the metal felting needle and the metal wire, when they hit each other, can cause this to snap and either get stuck inside your wool, in your fairy somewhere, or go flying. Like these things go flying across the room. So now she has wings. Right? So I just added that. So this could, I actually made one of these as a tree topper once. So that is also an option. But yeah, so I put the string in through the back of her head. Just make sure that it's, before you tie it off, kind of test the hanging. So it's not like, if you do too far back here, it'll hang like this. And then maybe she'll be flying. But just make sure it's the way you want it to be before you tie off your knot. Okay. So let me go back to my notes and my comments. I'm sweating. I'm so sorry. I had a fan set up, but it was way too loud. So I just had to kind of battle through this. I'm going to have an iced tea after this. So make sure that you are signed up for the giveaway, as everyone has been reminding everyone. There is a link up in my description for that, and I think somebody already posted it in the comments too. Over 700, I think it's 740, no, 780 and some dollars worth of value. So each one of us 12 presenters is going to ship the winner an item. And so what I'm including is, I'm going to give this box of all of our colors. There's 60. We added 3. 60 colors in here of wool, and then some tools to get you started with. So there's a big foam. There's like a needle felting pen with three needles in there to kind of, if you're working on something like 3D like this, it will work 3 times faster because you have 3 needles. I have a single needle. I have some finger protectors in there. That's really good for beginners. And then I included, so there's 1 needle in this, 3 needles in this, and then we have 9 more needles with different sizes and everything. So that's what I'm going to ship out as my giveaway item. And I am so excited to see who wins. We're going to be drawing the winner on, so the last day to enter is the 20th at 8 p.m. Central. And we are going to draw the winner live here in this group the next day at 8 o'clock. So on the 21st. Yeah, and thank you, Lo, for posting the link to the kit in case you wanted to make one of these wool fairies yourself. So the kit comes with the colors that I showed you today, but you could also request other colors and we will make that possible for you. If you wanted to make a Halloween or a fall fairy, or, you know, just whatever you want. Or you could get one of these 60 color sets and you would have all the colors and could make a whole family of fairies. Okay, so I'm going to hop off because my time is up. Next is Amy from Amy and Art Designs, and she will be on at the top of the hour. So just keep refreshing your page until you see her, where you have a lot of people in the group, and so sometimes it takes a couple minutes for you to see the updates, the new live. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and if you're watching outside of the group, make sure you take the next couple minutes to join the group so you can see all the replays of the other women's presentations. It's been some really great stuff. I will be trying some of them myself, and so you don't want to miss that. And yeah, you have about 10 more minutes before the next one goes live, so take the moment to get up and stretch, maybe use the restroom, drink some water. And then join us back here in the group at the top of the hour. Thank you.